Hey Virgo, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. If I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this reading, go check your other major placements. We are starting with the Moonology and Work Your Light decks for an intuitive vibe of where we're going. These are oracle cards. And then we're going to move on to the Muse Tarot for a more traditional tarot spread. Oh. Okay, we have, let's start with this one. Waxing crescent moon, have faith in your dreams. So you are on your way somewhere, you are already headed somewhere, and just having some faith that can happen, that's real, that is going to happen. You'll move a little differently with that faith, with that confidence. Your commitment will be greater when you know that there's a possibility, right? When we are working, this metaphor has come up a few times this week, but when we're working on, a performance or something, we're much more likely to memorize our lines very thoroughly, knowing we're going to stand up, knowing that we're going to, having faith that we will eventually be standing up in front of these people and performing this, versus just having the exact same piece but not really believing that we're ever going to perform it, or, we'll just move a little differently. So moving as if this is going to happen, having faith in your dreams. We have your commitment being tested here, though. This is why you're being exhorted and encouraged to have faith in your dreams, because we have first quarter moon, your commitments being tested. Look at these foggy clouds are going to come in and sort of obscure your vision and what your sense of possibility and what you think could happen, and your faith. So your faith, have faith in your dreams, but it's being tested, or it's being obscured, or something's not quite working out the way you thought. So you may want to throw the baby out with the bathwater of like, well, let's just not do this anymore. If you still want to do it, you can. There's just going to be some struggles here, or some loss of vision, or some loss of being able to see where all of this is going. So the circumstances are going to make it very difficult, could be making it very difficult for you to continue to have that faith in that dream, and in that something happening for you and something that you want. So staying strong, staying focused, even in the stormy weather, even when circumstances aren't perfectly or aren't aligning perfectly for us, still having that faith and staying strong and focused on that dream, continuing to have faith. Then we have South Node. I like the North Node, South Node work in astrology. If you haven't done that yet, I would encourage you to look into that. It's very fascinating work. Don't let your south hold you back. Don't let your past hold you back. So this is about some way that you've done something in the past isn't working anymore. It's time for you to change the way you interact with a certain topic or a certain situation with your life. So that could be part of what your commitment's being tested. Is your commitment to the overall goal, or is your commitment to the specific strategy of achieving that goal and reaching that goal? What is your overall goal? What is your faith in, having faith in that, let's say you want to be in a healthy, mutually respectful relationship with someone. So you may have to let go of it being this specific person, or that specific way, or in this specific location, or this specific way, in order to maintain the overall goal, because the situation's not working out. So don't let your past hold you back. Just because you've done something a certain way in the past doesn't mean that you have to continue doing it that way. It doesn't mean that you have to keep with the same exact strategy. You can still maintain your goal, but you can shift your strategies for the changing circumstances and the changing situations. So just because you've always done it this way, or you've always had this sort of response, or you've always had this sort of experience, trying not to let that history in that past, and of course that was your learning experience, this is your history in your past, these are things that you experienced, and you'd be an idiot not to learn from them. But learning and adapting. So just because something's always gone this way in the past doesn't mean it's going to be that way in the future. And just because you've always interacted with this situation in the past, you might need to shift your strategies here in order to get your overall goal, in order to continue moving towards your overall goal. So it's a commitment to what? To the strategy of how to get that goal, or to the actual goal? What's your commitment to here? And then we have inner temple devotion. So again, we have faith in your dream, commitment, devotion showing up here. Tune into the portal of your heart. So this commitment, this devotion, maintaining some sort of devotion or commitment to something, but it's very much a part of who you are. What is the part that is who you are? Is it the specific strategy you've employed so far? Is it the goal so far? Is it your dream? Like, what part of this is essential to you? Tuning into the portal of your heart. This could be some meditation, some sense of just getting in touch with what you truly want, what your true dream is. Not necessarily the strategies you've employed or the path to it, but what's the actual dream? And then we have deep replenishment, rest, retreat, be held. So replenishment, recovery, all of that is part of the plan. It's all part of the action plan. So it doesn't always feel like action, but it's a crucial part to arrive into our lives rested, capable of dealing with whatever comes our way, well rested and replenished. Right? Replenished means that there's a renewal of that energy here, and that renewal can brings us forward. And as part of the action and part of the overall plan, we need to be integrating retreat and rest into the overall plan and our overall activities, being very intentional about that, making sure we're resting as much as we can. That seems to be some sort of crucial element here is seeking out that rest, seeking out that renewal, allowing our depleted resources to be rejuvenated. And this could be spending time alone, getting in touch with what you truly want out of a situation, with what the dream is, and just allowing that renewal. You know, like, who would you rather have doing your surgery, as a metaphor, right? Doing your open heart surgery, would you rather have a surgeon who's rested, refreshed, renewed, doing that and able to bring his best and highest focus to this? Or would you rather have one who's on his 10th open heart surgery of the day, hasn't slept in 3 days? Which would you rather have? So if that's what you'd rather have, then that's something to think about as far as bringing to the world and bringing to your dreams and bringing to your vision is the well-rested you, and not the depleted, worn out, mistake prone, unregulated you, because regulating our emotions, or not regulating them, but dealing with them is all so much better when we're well rested. All right, Virgo, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. Okay, I like some of this. You have some pretty major arcana here, which just begins the story, right? And these stories can be between 1 and 10, a scale of 1 to 10. So it can make this story a little bigger, or you might be dealing with some big issues. All right, in your recent past, you have the Hierophant, dealing with institutions, long-held institutions. These institutions maybe just shells of their original intent at this point, because anytime we institutionalize a spark or an idea, it sometimes becomes just the shell as that idea crumbles and doesn't need to need to stay alive and need to stay vibrant, because it's so encapsulated in this institution that the original idea can fall away. But those institutions do actually contain a lot of information, a lot of guidance, a lot of wisdom that we may not. Did I show it to you? a lot of guidance and a lot of wisdom can be contained there anyway. And that spark can still be there as far as that institution. So maybe you've been working with an institution, been ensconced in an institution, or maybe you've even created some sort of institution, some sort of rigid, immovable sense of habits and activities and a rigid format for yourself to live within. This may be actually killing a bit of a spark within, but the intent was there as you built this sort of structure around yourself, and this structured living and this structured scheduling and all of that. So it could be a self-imposed structure that you've been dealing with in your recent past, or an external structure. This has like sort of some maybe a maze of commitments and procedures that need to be done in order to achieve anything. You do this, and then you do that, and then you do this. There's like a series of steps and initiations throughout the process to get where you want, but it's all very planned out, very known and rigid in the structure. And then it's ancient. It's like the shell. It's like the shell that you find at the beach, the little shell. That shell represents that, the spiral snail shell or whatever, it represents, it was created by a living thing. It was at one point full of life, and now it's sort of this shell. It does represent growth, and it contains a history of growth, and it contains the history of that life form that lived within that shell. But it could just be a shell now, and that life form has either passed on and you no longer need it, or or it can be repurposed for the hermit crab. Who knows? So the Hierophant deals with that structure, the structure that can contain life, and then can remain long after that life no longer needs it. So that's what I'm seeing with this South Node. Don't let your past hold you back. There's something here in the past that was a structure that you needed, that supported your life. It was a scaffolding for you to build something within. It supported you, but it may no longer be needed. That's what I'm seeing with the South Node. Your current situation, the Empress. You are enough. You are full of life. You are a life giver. This is Earth Mother energy, the source of life, the source of, right? It's not the structure that was the source. It's you that's the source of life. And you are abundant. You have enough. You have a perspective of having enough. You have so much life within you that you can give life, that you can give it away and it doesn't diminish something. So you're in a moment of self-sufficiency, in a moment of liveliness, and having an abundance of life and an abundance of life-giving capability, and a sense of being enough, having enough. You don't need this shell anymore. You don't need this structure. Being in a moment of abundance right now. You have plenty, you have enough, and you have enough to share, enough to give, enough to spark. You spark somebody else's life. You have that spark within you. In your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, you have the Lover's card. Lover's card talks about some sort of deep soulful connection that you're thinking about. You're either worried about it or you're hopeful for it, but it always raises questions of choices. It's a question raising card. There's a couple of them in here that raise more questions than answers, and this one is one of them for me. The Lover's card. How are you going to fuel your life? How are you going to move forward? How are you going to what are you going to dedicate your time to? And your life force. You have this powerful life force within you. And this is a question of, do you go towards what brings you alive, or do you go towards what makes sense and is secure? This is absolutely this South Node, this nodal work here between the South Node and North Node. So something here makes a lot of sense. Something here brings you to life, but maybe doesn't make much sense. And you're sitting there, that's on your heart. What path to take? We're being asked to go towards nourishment, to go towards a place that brings us alive. but there's a cost to it. And one of those costs can be the perceptions of other people. One of those costs can be disappointing other people, angering people, doing things way outside of step, right? We have this past here, this past in this institution, and institutions just make sense to most of us. We're born into this whole system full of these ancient, hundreds of years old institutions. They can be marriage, court systems, colleges, universities, any kind of institution like that. Structure, the basic structures of our life, the infrastructure of our life, or it's external, though it's not the heart and soul, it's the structure around that heart and soul. So you're questioning right now if you've taken the right path. You feel so full of life and possibility right now, and you're connecting with some sort of life-giving force, that it may be raising questions of the institution versus the spark. What one makes sense and one just feels really good. And how are you going to fuel your life? Are you going to fuel it with love? Having love direct you, having love guide you towards what you love, towards what you brings you to life? Or are you going to have these institutions and their sort of mazes and structure guide you, even though it makes sense and you can talk about it at a party and sound like you made the smart choice, but is that really worth giving up something that brings you to life? Just being able to sound smart, look smart to other people. Then we have, what's at issue here is this Queen of Emotions in reverse. Queens are male or female, dealing with the inner landscape, dealing with what's going on inside of us. Queen of Emotions, there's an emotional disconnect here. There's either a total shutting down of not discussing feelings, not discussing emotions, not looking at them, or not looking at them and not discussing them, or a lack of connection to some sort of inner self, how you really feel. There's a lack of connection to how you really feel, either that or a lack of expression about how you really feel. It's weighing heavily. Your feelings are weighing very heavily on you. You may not be discussing them. They may be quite overwhelming, quite difficult to eke out. There could be a disconnect, an inability to know them, even to connect with them. You might not know how you feel, or this could be someone around you, someone in your environment who's not talking about how they feel, male or female. They're not talking about how they feel. They're not expressing it. They're withholding it. There may be a lot there that's being unexpressed and unstated. I mean, it is a court card, so we could be dealing with an actual person that you're dealing with. So Queen of Emotions reversed could be an actual person that you're dealing with that is not speaking about their emotions, is keeping them hidden, even though they're weighing on them quite a bit. Or it could be you. It could be you feeling a disconnect from your emotions, or feeling so much. It's just like topsy-turvy. It's not like it's like the emotions are so present and squashing what's on the surface, squashing anything on the surface, but it's all still yet subterranean or under the waves. It's something is going on under the waves, but it's all under the surface. There's a lot of emotion under somebody's surface here, yours or somebody else's. In your environment, 4 of materials, this is a little bit, someone could be a little obsessed, someone could be a little focused on their work. This can be a situation where it's a very focused, I sometimes think of it as a honeymoon situation where we're taking time out of regular life and we're focusing on this, but it can also be obsession over something that's not that big of a deal, or isn't that important, isn't the crucial crux of it. It's like obsession with the shell and not the living being that created the shell, although I do love a good shell. But it is because it's only 4. Like, why are we clinging to 4? There's way more. There's so much more to do. There's so much more out there. Why are we clinging to these four little coins or 4 little materials, these 4 buds? We've grown 4 flowers, very excited about it, and we're going to hold on to those 4 flowers. And it comes under this Hierophant, so it almost seems like this shell or this structure has been substituted as like the golden calf. It's like worshiping the thing or being obsessed with some sort of outward thing while neglecting the core of it. And you're right in the core here. You've got that spark and that energy. So someone's obsessed with the shell of something instead of the life beneath that thing or what that thing represents. So being obsessed or being taken with the representation of something and not the core life of that thing itself. And then your to-do list, the energy you need to interact with, the energy you need to engage with, grow from, is awakening. Also our judgment card, but judgment sounds a little bit harsh. Awakening. Opening up, this is exactly the South Node, North Node work. Opening up to a new way of doing something. Looking at how you've done something in the past, seeing how it hasn't worked, and opening your mind and actually opening your heart up to a new way of doing something. So the past has come back. The past has come back for us to reevaluate it. Do we like the decision that we made? Do we like that decision? So reevaluating that decision and that choice and having this awakening and this opening in our life to make a different choice, that's what the South Node is here about, to make a different choice. We can make the same choice. I'm not saying that your past choice was wrong, but there's an opportunity here to reimagine how things might have gone, how things could go in the future, and to not make the same choice, to not make the same decision. We're being provided an opportunity here to make a different choice and a different decision. So your commitment's being tested. To what? What is your commitment to? Is it to a certain process? Is it to the shell, or is it to the life of that shell at one time protected? What is your commitment to, and how are you going to move through this? How are you going to move through your life? Do you like how you've been moving before? You don't have to move that way. You don't have to prioritize that anymore. You can make a different choice, and you're having an opening. You're having an opening of your heart, an opening of your mind, and an opening in reality for you to make some kind of a different connection to life, a different way of moving. And then where you're headed here is 7 of Materials, patience. You've put a lot of work into something and you're waiting for it. You're waiting for it to see the fruits of your labors, to see what's good. What did you plant? What have you grown? What have you done? And you're waiting for that fruit. So you need to have some patience. You're right. We got your commitments being tested. This is definitely going to be in like 7 of Materials mode. Having some patience, not being able to see the fruits of your labors, not being able to see instant results of the way that you're moving or the decisions that you're making right now. You're not going to see instant results from that. But be patient. Be patient and wait. Your commitment's being tested, and be patient. Stay focused on your work. Stay focused on what you want, on your dream, and be patient. So, all right, Virgo, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes, subscribes, and comments, and I'll see you in a fortnight.